righty. Let me just double check everything here. Everybody can hear me good, right? Just put up that one to make sure. Let me check all my links. All righty. I think we got, I think we're good to go. So Bat 13 first up. Of course, Scotty second up. James, it is good to see you. My man Jay, 1047. I wanted to ask you, 1047, did you ever get that dusted? I meant to ask you. I was looking at my list, and you happen to be one of the names on here that I see. Let me know on that. You know, anytime we have these giveaways, we kind of lose track. Of course, Jay Booth, Bat 13, corrections. It is good to see you. Going down the list. And we got ones coming up. John, I appreciate that. James, thank you. Chris, it is always good to see you. Chewy, good to see you. Although I don't think I've seen you before. First time here, maybe. Maybe you're one of Mike's people. Gerald, good to see you. My man Judge Webb. So look, so we'll get right into this one. So, you know, I always like doing these types of shows because it's basically people that I started with. You know, when I started this YouTube gig, so it's always good to see get other people's takes on them. So let's bring them right in. Of course, I am talking about Mike from Weekend Warrior, and there he is, looking all dapper in his yellow. So what's shaking?
Hey man, glad to be here. Thanks for the invite.
So I guess everyone knows Mike here, I would think. Of course, we got Wendy checking in, and Jersey Jerry checking in. Give him a little shout out. Yes, I did, and sent you an email. I really like it. There you go. Okay. So Mike, how long ago did you start, Mike? I'm kind of thinking we started at around the same time.
About 5.5, 6 years ago, somewhere.
So probably around the same time. Another YouTuber that has passed me by in the dust. That's quite all right. So how did you? Let's go, because of course I always want to get into how you feel about YouTube now, but let's just touch on how you started. What made you pick up a camera phone or whatever and start filming your cooks? And let's just start there.
That is such a great question. So we'd have to go way back to the early 90s. I was probably in junior high school, and there was a guy named Emeril Lagasse who had his show that I'm sure a lot of us who are old enough have seen. I would get off of school and watch that show while my parents were cooking dinner. And I just fell in love with cooking based on his entertainment level. He had the band, the big personality. It was kind of a big deal. And that was something I always wanted to do. Fast forward a little bit to when YouTube first started. I started a channel right around the time that Greg from Ballistic Barbecue did. And I started to get into it then. But the economy, you know, took a crap. And I just had to put my career, you know, on the front burner. So I walked away. And once I got myself established in my career, had a little bit more free time, I took another stab at it, which is about, you know, 6 years ago. And I'm glad I did. It's been awesome.
So now, if I remember correctly, again, because we did start around the same time, and it is always fun for me to talk to some of the people. Like I had Joe on, I think last week or the week before, and he started around the same time. If I remember correctly, you started in the kitchen.
Yeah, I was doing air fryer recipes. I was doing stovetop.
Now, do you have any culinary experience, or is just a passion to cook?
Yeah. So right out of high school, I got a job working in a kitchen.
Okay.
I love to cook, so it made sense for me. It was an Irish pub, so
Oh,
just
there you
doing
go.
short order cook stuff. I did that for 6 years. Worked under a chef for a short time. We had a chef that worked there, but basically, flipping burgers on a grill, working the deep fryers, working the sandwich machines. Did that for 6 years, but it wasn't going to allow me the lifestyle that I wanted.
You found out it didn't pay much.
Didn't pay much. The hours
No.
sucked. You
Yeah.
work nights, weekends.
Yep.
So I
I
walked
always
away.
say that.
Yeah.
So you obviously you've always had a passion for cooking, and that I was talking to somebody today, or was it yesterday, and we were talking about YouTube, obviously, and or maybe it was even on this live show last week. But if you don't have a passion for cooking and you try to do a cooking channel on YouTube, eventually you're just going to die off and burn out, because the passion over the money. Maybe it was Scotty I was talking to today. The passion over the money is always has to carry you through on this YouTube. So you started in the kitchen, okay? Because I remember that. I can close my eyes and practically see your kitchen. Personally, my love for cooking is easily in the kitchen more than the backyard is a hobby. I've always cooked in the backyard. So that to me is the hob. That's like the hobby part of my life with cooking. The kitchen is more of a passion. Not that I also enjoy it out there, but it's the kitchen that really holds my passion. Would you say that's the same for you, or?
No, I think it's changed for me. I really like cooking outdoors.
Okay.
I started in the kitchen because I had just remodeled our kitchen. It was brand new. It looked
Yeah.
awesome. And I thought, hey, this is going to be perfect for YouTube.
Uh-huh.
Turns out that's not the case, at least not for
Wow.
me. Whatever my presentation on camera, whatever it was, there was zero interest. I couldn't get any views cooking inside.
Mhm.
So I transitioned back outside. Yeah.
And now, do you hate the fact that you could never transition back inside? Have you ever done any inside cooks over the past year or two and they just flopped, or you're just completely outside now?
Yeah, I'm done.
You're completely outside.
Yeah, the only thing you'll see me do these days is I'll finish my cook if I'm doing low and slow in the oven,
Mhm.
and then I just briefly show me putting something in the oven. That's
Yeah.
the end of it.
So I was talking to the wife before, because I'm getting ready to do a cook, and it's going to be one of those. So this is just goes into a question. My next question for you. So it is going to be, and I'm not going to give away what the cook is, but it's going to be another, because it's a little different. It's going to be another 10, 12 hours in the smoker cook. And I said to the wife, I'm doing this overnight. I can't, and I'll sleep because I'll set, I got my chef's temp. I'll set my alarms, my low alarm, my high alarm, everything will be fine. But I can't sit in front of a pit from 7 in the morning till, 7 at night. It kills me to do that. How do you feel about that? Those long cooks?
I agree. It's so much time wasted that I
I
could be
know.
doing something else.
And then you have to, and then after the 10, 12 hours, 13 hours with the rest, then you got to actually cut it open and do the close. By
Yeah,
then, for me, the interest is gone in the whole cook, so I'm hoping that this overnighter, I'll wake up refreshed, ready to go, and the thing will be done. It'll be in there for 10 hours. Um, so I'm hoping that's the case, because I like doing these long cooks. I just hate the wait. I just hate the standing around doing nothing.
yeah. The only the only upside to any of this as a content creator, those little breaks in between throwing the wood in the box or opening the door to check, is you got time to edit.
Yeah.
You know,
it becomes a little monotonous. Scotty likes to sit out there and play with the grandkids. And of course, Jerry loves those relaxing long cooks. That's definitely good. I think I would probably love them also if I didn't do about 30, 40 of them over the past 2 years with film. When you're rolling film, it's no longer necessary a long, relaxing cook, right? Because you always have to think of the next shot, and you have to get into the edit and so forth.
Yep.
And it says here that Mike also did pizza videos. I kind of remember them. Are you still doing those, Mike? You got a fancy pizza oven, don't you?
Yeah, I've got a couple nice higher end pizza ovens. I took a break from that. Those of you who've been watching me for any period of time may have seen that I've lost a lot of weight. So I've lost about 50 pounds over the last
Good
2
for
years. You. Yeah. And cutting those carbs out was a big part of that for me. So,
So do you eat the food you cook?
Yeah.
You eat all of it?
Yeah. I don't eat it all at once. A slab of ribs will last me and Donna, 3 days.
Now, didn't you take a break from YouTube like a couple months back? I haven't seen you around, or has it always been steady, or is that YouTube just not showing me your stuff?
Yeah, it's YouTube. I've scaled it back at times, but I've never stopped. I think what it is I started doing a lot of YouTube shorts.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, those don't make it into people's notifications. I'm not sure what the reason is, but
I don't think anybody gets any notifications for shorts, to tell you the truth. I've never gotten any. Scotty says Tommy doesn't have the barbecue passion. No, my passion is more in the kitchen than out in the backyard flipping a brisket or wrapping a brisket after 7, 8 hours. No put down on pit masters. I know pit masters is a whole different ball game for what we do in the backyard, but there's a little bit more to being a chef in a kitchen than doing a pork for a pulled pork. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a little bit more involved in the kitchen. It gets a little old after a while. You got to come up with different things to cook. When you've been doing YouTube for 5 years, right, Mike? I mean, how many times can you cook the same thing? And it becomes a little monotonous.
Oh, it does. It does. It's every time I do a slab of ribs video, I can't believe I'm doing another rib video.
Yeah. Because you got to make it different. I used to love redoing my cooks when I would get a new pit. So when a new grill came in, I could redo all my cooks, but that's even gone now, because again, when you've been in the backyard 5, 6 years putting stuff on film, you got to try to come up with different things. How do you come up with different things? You have a method, or?
Yeah, I read a lot of books. Some of them aren't necessarily cookbooks, but I love Francis Melman. I've read all of his books. Nicholas Ekstedt, all your big barbecue names. I'll read their books and see if something jumps out at me that I think would be a good video. So,
do you do go trends, or?
I try to avoid anything viral. I don't want to make viral videos. It sounds crazy, but
interesting.
That's just
so I get it. So I get a lot of my ideas from like TikTok, because there's a lot of different different things on there. Okay, people's happy Sunday. There's Steven going down a list here. See if anybody has any questions, just bang them out. I know you got a couple people in here, Mike, and they seem to love your pizzas, man. John loves your pizza cook. Didn't you have a fancy pizza oven, like an expensive one?
Yeah,
I thought.
Yeah, it's it's outside right now. Yeah, I'm not going to mention the name brand, but it's $3,000 oven.
And you just don't use it as much?
I haven't really used it at all since I changed my lifestyle, and lost weight. Maybe on a rare occasion I'll use it.
Yeah.
Um,
But how about any like keto or gym? Do you do any of that stuff, or is it basically just carbs?
no, so I'll tell you, I got a pretty good routine. Every morning I'll wake up after I have my coffee. I will get in a cold plunge. So it's like an ice bath without ice.
Oh no shit.
Then I'll kind of warm myself up a little bit. I'll do 14 miles on an exercise bike. Uh,
Wow.
that's every day, and then every other day I'll do some kind of resistance training on top of that.
Good for you. I preach it. I preach it in here. I'm sure some of the regulars, Scotty definitely, um, they probably get tired of hearing me talk about it, but I preach health because the what we do with the barbecue with the sugars and the sauces and is not good. And if you go back 5, 6, 7 years and come now with the YouTubers, you could see the weight gain, and it's just so unhealthy. And I really try to preach it for people to try to balance it out. I myself do the same thing. I do a light keto, as Jay said. I'm not a maniac. I don't deprive myself, but I hold back. I wish I can get ice cream every Friday or Saturday night, but I don't. I try to keep my body sugar free. Unless I want to have a piece of candy, I'll do it. But I've cut sugar out of my coffee. I do no fat creamer. So I keep my body in probably like 95% ketosis, which allows me to burn fat. Even though I'm not a hunter, because I'm not a maniac, I'm still always there. And I hit the gym 5, 6 days a week. I don't go crazy in the gym because I'm a 40-year ex-smoker, but I'll do the treadmill for 30 minutes, 35 minutes just to get
Yeah.
everything pumping, kind of. Um,
I there's a couple of YouTubers that we've lost the
yeah,
last couple of years. So
yeah.
Cooking with the Blues. Yep, I think you got his Jack Chaplin.
I don't know. I forget his name, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure what led to his passing, but I still do have his sauce here. I
Oh,
can't remember.
Phil and Florence.
Yes.
Yeah,
I don't know if obviously if what we do had anything to do with that. Regardless, it's always good to take care of your body, take care of yourself, because you just should. That doesn't mean you're going to live longer than anybody else, but it just means that you're gonna live a healthier lifestyle, I guess.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. Well, when you're a YouTube cooking show and you don't have anyone to do your editing and your camera work, it's all you. So you're gonna eat, then you're gonna sit on your ass for hours editing.
Yeah.
So you've got to get up and move the blood, and you just feel better.
Yeah. Now, what do you do for a living, Mike?
I'm in sales, so I'm the sales manager for a pretty large territory. I cover Michigan and half of Ohio, and I sell commercial door hardware, the high security stuff.
Okay. I know you were in New York a couple. Well, you seem to be there a few times.
Yeah, I'm there at least 3 times a year. We have
Oh,
factories in New Haven, Connecticut, so usually for me to get there, I'll catch a flight to LaGuardia.
mhm.
So I'll grab myself a couple slices of New York pizza. Like that's the only time I really eat pizzas when I'm in New
It's-
York.
People never understand it unless they've experienced it. It's
Yeah,
hard to beat.
it is hard to beat. I'm a big New York style pizza fan. Also,
Mhm.
New Haven, Connecticut. I love that. Love
Yeah.
that pizza. Those
Now,
cold ovens, you can't beat it.
so obviously, this is probably the wrong time to ask this question because YouTube, the change in YouTube, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But has there ever been thought of doing this full time?
Not real. No, this is
No,
for me. It's a hobby.
it's a hobby.
Yeah.
How have well? Let's back it up. Let's back it up to the pit boss because I know you did a video a couple weeks back with the pit boss, and I read some of the comments, and you took a little bit of heat there. Was that a planned? Did you know you were going to get the heat that you got?
Oh yeah. So for anyone that's been watching me regular, I really haven't done pit boss videos in a couple of years. I haven't done any this year. I did 4 in all of 2023. So a little backstory. I partnered up with Pit Boss back in the summer of 2019, and I parted ways with them in 2020. They wanted me to sign some contract where I would only cook on their equipment.
Yeah.
They don't pay you anything.
Yeah.
And I walked away from that. I bought my own Pit Boss. At that time, I loved that vertical smoker.
Mm-hmm.
But I took their logo off of it. I put my own.
I saw.
I never really promoted their brand after that initial year. But nevertheless, I became known as the Pit Boss guy for a while.
100%, the Pit Boss vertical guy.
Yeah.
It seemed like all you cooked was on the Pit Boss vertical going back a couple of years ago. Daddy Dutch has a question. I don't even know how to pronounce that, but I'm sure you could read it.
Rumpelmans.
Yeah.
The last time I had that, Kent, was during that live stream. I was in a bar live streaming. There was an awesome band playing. I was live streaming it at the time on my channel, and Kent was in there. Hey, get a shot of Rumpelmans. So
Gotcha.
I did that live, however many years ago that was, maybe 4 years ago.
So the verticals, the vertical's done, would you say?
Yeah, I threw it out. It's done.
Did you lose subscribers?
I lost during that video. I lost 30 subscribers.
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
I'm sure some of them will come back.
I'm sure they will. I totally understand.
Crazy.
People want to watch content for the smoker that they have. But that's a little limiting. I mean, the smoker behind me is vertical. There's really no difference. I mean,
it's time and temperature.
Time and temperature.
That's crazy though. I was reading some of the comments. That's a testament on your show though too. So it's a testament on you, how people took your show to heart, and it's like their father kicking them out of the house, I guess.
I liken it to Hulk Hogan. If you're a wrestling fan, he went to the NWO. He's dressed in all black, for a short time. And
now how do you like, so I see an LSG, which Lone Stars do you have?
I only have the vertical offset. I bought it back in 2020. I've been creating content with it ever since. It's been my primary. If I'm doing low and slow content, that's what I've been using since 2020.
And have you ever talked to Chris at Lone Star?
No, I didn't. I think sometimes it's better to just be a happy customer than it is to be promoting people's products. At a certain point for me, it starts to feel like work.
I hear you. Then we got Russ checking in, saying what is happening, Mike. I hear you on that. And again, it is something that I preach about and talk about here. I never want this to feel, even though I do this full time, I'm still retired. So I'm a senior, I'm retired, whatever. But I never want this to feel like a full-time job. I just don't. When I turned my cell phone on, it was a hobby. Um, I'm going to cook regardless if I do YouTube or not, because again, cooking is definitely a passion of mine. When my wife used to work 2 jobs when we were first getting going, I was doing flooring and I was home 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon while she's going to her second job. And I'd have dinner on the table. I mean, cooking is, I probably would say even before YouTube, I probably put about 80%, 85% of the food on the table through the marriage. So cooking is always, that's always going to be it for me as the cooking. But I never want this to feel like a job. I just don't. I just don't. I think if it's a real weird time, and we'll move right into this. I feel like it's a, and even if Russ wants to, because he's in the chat, if he wants to chime in on chat, I feel like it's a weird time with YouTube now. I feel like, I don't want to say it's at a crossroads, but I feel like it, especially over the past this year, it has changed drastically as far as the money angle of it. I can follow a lot of channels, their numbers, and across the board, it seems like unless you're a big player like Hussey or maybe the Flat Top King and they're griddles people, seems like it has gotten tough for the backyard pitmaster on YouTube. What's your thoughts on that?
I think a couple things. So we started at the same time, just before the lockdowns,
Mm-hmm.
and we had established our channels a little bit by that time, but we benefited greatly from all of the people being stuck at home, all of all the new people on the platform. So I think we got a little spoiled for a little while, and maybe things have returned back to pre-lockdown levels. I'm not sure, but it does feel like barbecue content has fallen out of favor, either with the viewers or with YouTube and their content and strategies. I'm not sure.
It seems like, and I agree with you. When I left my job, I was at a peak on YouTube. I made the most money that I've ever made in a month. So I left my job because I figured, wow, forget about it. I'm going to clean up. And it's been a spiral down. And there doesn't really seem to be any upticks. Yeah, it gets a little bit busy around March, April, but man, this year just seems like a tough year for a lot of people. And YouTube, like just for an example, like Ash Kick, and I don't know if you know his channel, but he would get bumps with some high flying videos, and those are gone. I mean, YouTube used to pick like whatever we're called, influencer a month or whatever it's called, and they used to grab a barbecuer. I mean, I think they might have did Dogfather, maybe Jax. I think was picked.
Cooking with Rye. It was Creators on the Rise.
Yeah, and I don't know if they don't do it no more, but no creators on cooking are doing anything unless, again, you're a Guga, unless you're one of the bigger channels. It just seems tough.
You never know with YouTube and these mega corporations. It could be that somehow they feel the content is unhealthy for people, and they're not promoting it. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I will say I had an incredible start to the year on YouTube, but it was with YouTube Shorts.
Yeah. So you made money with YouTube Shorts?
No, you barely make any money, but you can grow your channel pretty quick.
Oh, okay, I got you. And now, do you produce those YouTube Shorts?
Yeah. Yep.
And Russ brings up a, I don't know, cook for you good, like maintaining a pitch and barbecue. things. Russ brought up a good point about the holidays view with the politics, November, December. That could hurt. You know, DJR time, you can only watch so many briskets smoked, especially when for pit masters. Everyone loves brisket, but only a few are willing to make better equipment. You know, it's just true. It's just what we were talking about before. You got your big briskets, your pork ribs, your pork butt, you know, your big players, 4 or 5 different proteins, you know, 4 or 5 different recipes. And how many times can you cook them? Maybe that has something to do with it. You know, I don't know. Do you still have fun, Mike?
I do, because a lot of people consume content to escape. I create content to escape.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't like to sit in front of the TV and watch a show. I like to be creative. So I enjoy that part of it, but I also really I've got some really nice mill scale metalworks equipment that I cook on. I've got a fire pit. I've got one of the yakitori grills. So, you know, you have to go out and stay with the fire. You know, you can't really walk away.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have fun with that when I do it.
What's your schedule like? So you're working 5 days a week, I'm guessing. What do you cook on the weekends?
Every weekend for 6 years.
So you film every weekend?
Yeah.
Unless you have something to do, more or less, like something with the missus or something.
Yeah, there's times of the year where I scale back. A lot of those are in the summer. I don't have any covered area to film.
Mm-hmm.
So the cameras overheat. You know, you don't want to be out in the sun, and I start to ramp up once the weather gets a little bit cooler. I enjoy it when there's clouds. So right up here on Lake Erie, we get the lake effect, clouds that move in, you know, and that helps.
You know, I cook, as you know, I cook in the shack, and it helps me a lot because the one thing, you know, we have to deal with the sun. If it's not cloudy, it can be a pitta to try to film, you know, with the sun, just messing you up. You know, so the shack definitely helps me. You know, look, if I didn't have the passion to cook, like I was saying before, it would be hard to fake this. You know, it would be hard to keep this going. And you've seen, I mean, again, you started with me, and you know, if I took my time and wrote down on a piece of paper, I could probably come up with about 10 channels that are gone. You know, that started around the same time as we did. And it seems to me when you stop, it's hard to start. So if you think you're going to take a couple months off and get started, but you're taking the months off because you're really not into cooking, so you feel you need a break, to me, it's very hard to start back up.
Yeah, it's like trying to jump back on a treadmill that's moving. You know.
Yeah. You know, I'm trying to, and I talk about it here, I'm trying to back down the channel a little bit because I got a little bit too crazy. You know, a little bit too pressed, you know, 6-7 days a week, you know, 10-12 hour days, whatever. And I have no interest in doing that. So I'm trying to back it down a little bit. I'm going to pick and choose a little bit on who I work with and so forth.
Yeah.
I have not. Have you, Mike? Can you read that?
Yeah, I've been looking. I almost bought the Kent Rollins version.
Ken Rollins?
Yeah,
Cowboy Kent.
Yep.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, he's got his own. They made one special for him that you could buy.
He works for a company that I work for, and I would love to. That dude just seems like a really sweet guy, man. Yeah, Cowboy Kent Rollins. I see Leprechaun TV checking in on the chat. It's good time. Good to see you, man.
Little leprechaun in the room. All right.
Yeah, I spent some time with him in Houston, and also Kent. in Houston. You know, that was one of the, I don't know how close you've been following, Mike, but that's been one of the cool things. I spent some time with the Wall twins, of course, Maddie and Kiki, Kent, Uncle Steve. I know
Yeah.
Russ was just out with Ricer, you know, so that has been a pretty cool thing that's come out of YouTube anyway. Have you met any YouTubers?
Not barbecue YouTubers. I've done a couple of collaborations in an unrelated genre, which is firewood.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had my firewood guy who also has a YouTube channel over.
I remember that.
Yeah, really good dude. But no, I haven't.
Hold on, let me see. Got a Scotty said we got Cowboy Kent. Hold on. Let me see back. Just going down this list here. So what is it? So what are some of the stuff, Mike, that you like to we know you don't want to do pizzas, even though they were pretty popular on the channel, just because the health, just the carbs. What are some of the stuff you like to cook?
I love cooking over a campfire or a fire pit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really what you're going to see from me moving forward is a lot of that. I would like to, if I can figure out the logistics, I want to go down to one of the public parks and cook on one of those stand-up grills that are there, you know,
Mm-hmm.
get the camera out and do that, or go camping and cook over the fire, have a campsite and set up for a couple days.
Mm-hmm. Somebody just said that they like, I don't know if I can go back and find it, but somebody did just say that they like travel cooks. I'm not going to be able to go back and find it.
Yeah, I saw that too. I wasn't sure if that was like going to review barbecue places or cooking on the road.
No, I did a couple location cooks. It's very hard here in Jersey to try to find any land, and it's so law, you know, it's so much. There's so much law here. There's so many things you can do, things you can't do, permits that you need. But I did find a spot in the woods and did some shooting there. But again, I dealt with a lot of sun issues. I remember that. You know, I remember that cook. So I don't want to say that I'm not going to, it's hard to say. So the pit boss, when you got rid of the pit boss, I don't want to say that was like a gimmick thing because you really did get rid of the pit boss, but there was something there besides a recipe that brought people into that video. You know, like an angle kind of.
Yeah. So you're going to see that from me too. Even if you look at my last video that I put out on Friday. So the pit boss video where I just spent like 30 seconds telling people I got rid of it. The title of the video was "I Quit."
Mm-hmm.
Right. So of course people are going to click on that. Your
Mm-hmm.
job is to get people to the video.
Yeah.
Right? And so I just did real quick. Hey, I'm not using it anymore, but here's a slab of ribs and I'm going to do it in the offset. Or the one I put out on Friday was a brisket video. And the title of that video was "Terrible News for Anyone Who Loves Brisket."
Mm-hmm. I saw that.
Right. So I've done a lot of research. I've got a whole list of videos that I'm going to be putting out with thumbnails that I've already created, titles I've already come up with.
Mm-hmm.
So I've really started doing that before I even film a video. If I can't come up with something I think people are going to click on, I'm not going to do it.
Now, I haven't looked at your numbers on those videos, but did those videos do good?
Yeah, double, triple the views than normal. Yeah.
So, you know, I agree with you on that. I have a video coming out, and I'll have to try to come up with, I don't know if I'll get a fancy name, but I did a video where I took a flat and brisket, and I made like hot dogs out of the brisket in shape of a hot dog.
Yeah.
Smoked it for, 7-8 hours, right up to that toothpick tender. put them on hot dog buns, and also thinner that I got from Scotty, like a thinner French fry out of the brisket. Now the French fries weren't as good because there wasn't enough juice in there to keep them going, but the hot dog ones were very good. A nice, like a sausage, like a hot dog sausage just cut out of brisket, smoked 7-8 hours, on a roll, and just ate like a hot dog. And I was a little shocked that it was pretty good, I have to say. But I think that's just where we are. I think that's where we are. Like, you literally going to have to stand over somebody, with a friggin' baseball bat or a cow. I beat the shit out of this cow, and this is what I made. You know what I mean?
I think the future of YouTube, it's already here, but
it is here.
But it's storytelling.
Yeah.
And if I look at Guga, he's not doing a recipe.
No.
He's telling you a story, with a really nice voiceover like he does, and then at the very end he'll eat it, with his friends. But we've got to become better storytellers. That's
he must have a group of 10 people that sit in a room to come up with these themes for his videos, because you're right there. And this is something we talked about a week or two ago. I mean, personally, I can't watch those types of videos, but that's me. Because again, I'm more just of a classic recipe type guy, but I understand that that's where it is. There has to be something there to hold people's interest through a 7-8 minute video, and that is going to be a story.
It's got to be, you can do your recipe, but it's going to be in a story format somehow. So,
I just don't know if I can pack a steak in salt for a month and cook it if that's going to hold the, because I'm not Guga, maybe I'll try something like that.
I've been reading a lot of books on storytelling lately because I'm trying to figure this out for myself. I can see clearly that, if we plan to continue to grow and have fun doing this, I think that's where it's got to go.
It makes sense. It makes sense because if you think of the food, like the Food Channel or Food Network, they don't do recipes anymore. They have shows with story. I guess you could say story. There's stories. They're game shows, but there is a story, because you're going to get involved in somebody's life on the show, and watch them go through the ups and downs. So in a way, it is kind of like a story, I guess.
Do you remember a cooking channel? It was Shotgun Red.
That's not the biker channel, right?
No, he's a real big guy. Kevin Hall.
No.
He passed away, but he was an indoor cook. He was in Nashville, and he would cook like real simple stuff. It could be in a crock pot, just like nothing, extraordinary. But he would tell a story while he's cooking. Hey, I remember my Aunt Susie. We used to call her such and such, and and he would tell a story while he cooked. And kind of like who's that guy with the spiky blonde hair? What's his name? Guy Fieri.
Yeah, he kind of, sometimes I'll come across his show where he travels to different restaurants, and man, you can get sucked in and watch that shit for hours. A lot of times I'll watch his YouTube, some of the YouTube videos, and they're not full recipes. He goes in, he talks to the people, he learns about how they open the business, it's a story, and this is my mother's recipe. It hasn't changed. And I guess that would be kind of like the same thing.
Yeah, people like that, I think, And
we got some Shotgun Red with Steve Hall, who was a puppeteer on TNN. I remember the bikers. You remember the bikers that cooked?
Yeah.
I remember the bikers that cooked.
If anyone watching hasn't seen, he's passed away. He passed away in 2018, but his videos are still up. Go check them out. Like
Shotgun Red.
Yep.
Follow the channel. Huh, I'll have to write that down. Now, I did used to follow. I can't remember his name now. Scotty, who's the big guy in Boston that just passed away? I got a shirt in the back room. I don't feel like getting it now. Old time chef, cooked in the kitchen in his restaurant.
Jack Chaplin.
Yeah, I used to love him, man. He's he's every chef that I've ever worked under growing up. Yeah. I'm trying to see this. He's a douche. Tell me read how he treats the restaurant owners. I'm trying to pick up who that is.
Probably Guy Fieri.
Oh, Guy Fieri. Yeah, I've heard that too, man. I've heard that. His restaurants aren't that good anyway, surprisingly. Look, I watch him try to get ideas for the show, and I think he is entertaining. But I have heard that he's he is a douche. But I used to love watching Chaplin, man. He's the old time no nonsense chef, man. There's no it's his way or the highway, and he ties into what we were talking about and when we opened the show, Mike. I mean, because he was a big guy.
When he passed away, that was kind of my wake up call. I was editing a video. I'm like, look at how fat I've gotten here. I've got to do something. So
yeah,
that was it.
And it's like Chaplin, he was so unhealthy. I think we've just said his name before, the Louisiana chef. What's his name? You mentioned him before. The biggest chef.
Emeril Lagasse?
Yeah, he lost a lot of weight.
Yeah.
I would believe. And I think he quit that whole fast life. So yeah, for sure. Justin Wilson was a storyteller while he cooked. Smoky Ribs says cooking with Shotgun Red. Scotty got his channel up there. I wrote it down. I'll have to check that out. Cowboy Kent also definitely a good storyteller.
Yeah, Cowboy Kent is for sure.
Yeah.
If you go to Shotgun Red's videos, I used to love it. I used to have it memorized. I would say it with him at the beginning of every show. He'd say, "I'm just a country cook," and he'd have this little quick intro about himself.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Dennis says Fieri's nothing more than a game show host. Fieri's getting a little bit of a couple hits in here.
Better him than us.
I guess I won't ask him to be on the show. Not that he would. And Smoky Rib says, you look like Magnum PI. How'd you make that picture on your thing? What is that, a computer program, I guess?
Yeah, it's AI generated. I put in something like, you give it a couple pictures of yourself. And then I said, put in mob boss sitting at restaurant. And that's what it came up with.
He had a restaurant, Wendy, and if we're still talking about Guy Fieri, he had a restaurant in New York that failed miserably. I don't remember the name of it, but it didn't last long at all. And, if you know New York food, there's no messing around. There's no bad restaurants in New York. They will not survive. You have to be on top of your game in New York because, New York is I'd say probably one of the top places to get some good food, expensive, but good. So you don't survive. And his restaurant didn't. It went out of business quick, if I remember correctly. I did eat at one of his places. He's in airports. So, if you're going in airports, it might not be the greatest thing if you're putting your restaurants in airports. But he is fun to watch. I miss the Food Network when they first started, and they had all those cooking shows. Man, that was good TV. But like everything else, man, everything's changing, and some of the cooking shows now that other, I'm getting brain things on who that most famous chef that does all those shows on TV. Those shows for me are always hard to watch.
Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah. But that's just, that's where it is. I've eaten at his restaurant also, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I think he's got one of the casinos, um, Ramsey's, I think it was called. Let me go here. Went on a cruise, burger joint. Yeah, I think is that Fiore again or somebody else? I think that's Fiore. My computer here is lighting up. So where do we go from here, Mike? As we get ready to, it's almost 7 o'clock already, man. That was quick. We're gonna stick with the offset. Pizzas are put on the back burner for now. Now, since the pizzas were popular on your channel, you wouldn't cook them and just give them away, or if you don't want them in your body, you're just not going to cook them.
I wish I had that self-control. You make the dough from scratch. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. Do it right.
To do it
which
right.
I never do.
Then to get the oven, you got to preheat it for a long time. Make the video. I would just, for now, I'm just going to keep it on the back burner. Mm-hmm. But who knows? I do eat pizza still from time to time. Mm-hmm. Maybe one of these days I'll get the oven out and film it. But for now, live fire cooking, barbecue in the offset, and I am contemplating buying maybe a Weber kettle. That's what I started on years and years ago.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I think you would probably enjoy that. How did it feel to get that button behind you, that 100,000 button?
It was a lot of mixed emotions. Relief. There was a period there where I didn't know if it would happen. Mm-hmm. Coming out of the pandemic, we were all on a high. We were all getting easy views and subscribers, and then it tanked. Mm-hmm. It just fell off a cliff, and so I had to reinvent the channel. I moved away from the pit boss because it was clear those people weren't coming back, and it all worked out in the end. So relief, gratitude, just I'm really grateful for all the people that stuck with me over the years. Mm-hmm. As you said at the start of the show, I started out in the kitchen on YouTube and transitioned, to outdoor barbecue. So mm-hmm. There's people that stuck with me all through that for all this time. A lot of them are here in the chat. So just grateful. And other than that, nothing really changes. It's nice to have, but YouTube doesn't do anything special for you after that. You don't make any more money.
There's really nowhere to go after that.
Yeah.
Unless you set your sights on 1 million, and let's face it, unless something drastically happens, it ain't going to happen. I mean, we would like to think it will, but it took us this long to get to 100,000. Can you imagine how long it's going to take you to get to 1 million?
Yeah, that was never my goal. I did have a goal of getting the silver play button. Like that was, mm-hmm. I like trophies. I was competitive in school. I wrestled and played football, and I can put that up with all the other awards and pat myself on the back, at home. But I'm still as humble as I ever was, and just grateful to be, on a show like yours today. This never would have happened, without YouTube.
Yeah, one of the best things to come out of this is people like you. I'm looking at Leprechaun, and even meeting viewers, right? Like Wendy, I know her fairly well. We're friends on Facebook. James, I believe, is kind of new, but I'm getting to know him. Kevin seems to been with me for a long time. Jay, he's another one that seems to be with me for a long time. So there are, and of course, YouTubers. So there are relationships that we develop.
There's one in the chat. So I've met Leprechaun. Obviously, he's not far from me, but Scott Claypool, who I see He's a subscriber. He's been to my house.
Hmm.
We hung out next to the fire one night. I've met a lot of subscribers. These
Hmm.
companies want to send me grills. Sometimes if it's
Hmm.
really nice grill, I'll do it
Hmm.
in exchange for a video, and then I give it away to the subscribers. So I've done that
Yeah.
over the years. That's a cool thing to do, but it's all about the
Where,
people.
where do you live, Mike?
I'm on the west side of Cleveland, like I'm not in a suburb. I'm actually in the city of Cleveland, right over
Oh, okay.
by the airport. If you've
I'll
ever
tell
been
you,
there.
give me a minute here. My niece just moved somewhere out there. Wait, maybe there's one chance that we'll meet. Let me see if I see where she lives. I can't even pronounce this. Hold on. Michigan. Did you say Michigan, Mike?
Yeah.
No, Cleveland.
Well, Michigan is my sales area, so I do
Okay.
travel. I'm in Michigan every week. So.
Okay. So I just posted where she lives. You'll
Oh
see it
yeah.
up top.
Yep.
Is that far from where you go or
No,
Escalon?
I'm in that area often.
Okay, so who knows? If I ever make it out there to see her, I'll definitely let you know in plenty of time. I would love to meet you. I've met quite a few people in this chat, viewers as well as YouTubers, um, and that's probably one of the best things that has come out of this whole thing. Um, So that's good. So that's it, man. We are just about done, Mike. Is there anything you want to close out with?
Just a big thank you. Thanks for inviting me on. I really appreciate it. I love, being part of the community when I can.
Hmm.
And thanks for all my people who tuned in, and
Hmm.
see you guys in the next video.
Excellent, Mike. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate that I've gotten to know you the past 5 years. Um, and that's it, man. Just keep on doing what you keep on having fun, man. Keep that candle burning. Keep staying healthy. I think that's more important than anything. And then everything else should fall into place. Keep on cooking.
Amen.
Thanks, ma'am.
All right. Take care.
All right, brother. Bye. All righty, and there you go, man. That was a pretty nifty, pretty quick hour. Um, that's one of the fun things about this show is having some of the barbecue guys that I started with, and I have spoken to them. A lot of these people I've spoken to in the past. So it is always good to catch up because we do lose track of each other. I've lost track of Mike, over the past couple months or year. We don't get, just like you guys. We don't get the videos sent to us. And I reconnected with him when I saw I quit. For some reason, that popped up on the on my Facebook feed, and so I popped on over to the video to see what is happening. Like we were talking about, it's good catchy, and I'm going to have to try to think of stuff like that to do. Not I quit, but try to get people in. Um, when I popped on over there and then figured I would have him on the show. Um, and there you go. So it's been fun the past couple of weeks because I've got to interview some people that I started with. I'd like to get Dog on here. Um, I think there's not too many left that that I started with that I haven't had on the show. So I would say I am running out of guests. I did try to chase down a couple famous chefs, um, and Heath Riles. I got. I was in conversation with him to come on, and it's just kind of CJ I've had on the show. I would love to have CJ on again. I'll reach out. I'll do doubles with people. It doesn't matter to me because it is a conversation. It's fun. So I would love to have CJ on again for sure. But Heath Riles, T. Roy. I was in talks with him. And it just kind of fell apart. And I don't want to bother people. And that's it, man. So let's see what happens next week. Malcolm Reed, I wouldn't even know how to contact him. You'd be surprised. Maybe he would do the show, but I don't know if I haven't even thought about contacting him. I know he does his own show. I was kind of shocked when what's his name, Stephen Reitzling came on the show a couple weeks back or a month back or whatever it was. And then I tried to get that dude out in Canada who cooks by the pool. I can't remember his name now. And I was actually in conversation with him. And, the conversations just fizzled out. And I'm not going to chase anybody down. Really doesn't really matter. This is all for fun with me. Great show, Tommy. I appreciate that, man. So that's going to be it. Stay tuned for next week to see if I have a show next Sunday. I know we are in the midst of summertime here. I got some vacation time coming up. So we'll just see how that goes. Other than that, man, just keep on watching, keep on supporting. I appreciate all you guys. It was a great show. Hit those thumbs up on your way out. And that's it, man. And we will see you guys on the next one.